Oh no, 2 Green Rangers. Are you guys both good, or are you guys both bad? Jason, help me get him. He's an imposter. No way, man. He's the imposter. You gotta help me take him out. These are the moments where I wish Billy was around. He'd know the difference. Hey boys and girls, welcome to another super exciting, outrageous toy review. Today, we're taking a look at the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Legacy Collection Automorphin Green Ranger. This figure is an almost perfect replica of the Power Ranger figure released in 1993 of Tommy the Green Ranger. This figure comes in a special Legacy Collection box that contains a card figure with packaging that's almost a perfect replica of that 90s release. This figure was bought in the store in 2018. This figure was purchased in 1993 and stored in a tote under a bed. The back of the package is the first place where we start to see some differences. The original figure uses Jason in the corner to symbolize how the automorphing feature works, while the modern one has Tommy there. The bottom of the package has some additional disclaimers explaining the monsters are not available in stores currently, and that this is a reproduction package. Here's the Legacy Collection Green Ranger out of the package, looking just like he did in 1993. Tommy features that goofy Dragonzord power coin that all the American toys had instead of the 3-pronged symbol that was actually on his power coin in the show. He comes with a temporary tattoo of that same Dinozord creature. I wonder where they got that symbol from. He comes with the Dragon Dagger in all silver plastic. It's not a bad representation of it. He comes with a Blade Blaster, which is pretty funny considering Tommy never ever used the Blade Blaster. He didn't have one. I always thought it was a little unfortunate that the Dragon Dagger can't fit in there, because that's actually what he used his holster for. I mean, it sort of fits, but it doesn't look good. The Green Ranger had a black holster, and he kept the Dragon Dagger in it. And then for the accessory that sets the Green Ranger apart from the rest of the team and makes the automorphing function hard to do, his Dragon Shield. This is a faithful reproduction of the original one, but somehow it's been engineered better to stay on. A lot of fans have had problems with their Green Ranger Dragon Shield since they were kids, and it's almost impossible to find a loose vintage one that doesn't just fall apart right away. This one is really well put together. Stays on him better than the blaster stays in his holster. This Tommy was bought in 2018. This Tommy was bought back in 1993. This Green Ranger right here is the only vintage Power Ranger toy I owned as a kid. I was in 5th grade when Power Rangers came out, and it was okay to like the show. You still didn't go up and shout it off the rooftop that you were a Power Ranger fan, but it was not cool to have Power Ranger toys in 5th grade. And so Tommy was the only one I bought. Even though I really liked the toys, I thought they looked super cool. I pretty much only played with Lego at that point in my life. Just, you know, you're at that awkward age where you're not a collector, but it's, you know, you're too old to play with toys, and kids at school think things. Before I realized it didn't matter to me what anybody thought about my toy collection, I was kind of laying low at this point in time during the Power Ranger heyday. I used to go to my cousin's house and hang out with them and play with their Power Ranger toys all the time. But that Tommy is the only one I had. If it wasn't for a few dings and dents in the paint, I don't think you could tell the two figures apart. The inside of the vintage Dragon Shield has some markings in there, while the modern one is all baby smooth in there. Here's the vintage front and the modern back. They do not fit together. I've got one pin in, and the other one will not line up. They're slightly different sized. I know a lot of people complain about that vintage Dragon Shield, but I never had any real major problems with it. It's not perfect, but mine stays on pretty well. I think a lot of kids damage the pins inside the Dragon Shield on their vintage figures by slamming that morpher button to pop the chest and back open, which would make the armor blow off the figure. Back to the modern release figure. This figure is an automorphing ranger, or often referred to as a head flipper, and what that means is when I press his power morpher here, his chest and his back open up, and then I can flip his head around, revealing actually Tommy, unmorphed. He's got the long hair. It's an okay likeness. It's not Jason David Frank, you know, doesn't scream Jason David Frank, but it's close enough, I guess. And with another flick of this button, he'll morph. It's Morphin time! Dragonzord! And the feature works awesome. If you're not familiar with these head flippers, you have to manually reset them each time. They're spring-loaded just to change into their Ranger form. The carded Tommy action figure in my collection was bought in 1993 by my friend's grandfather and stored in a tote under a bed for many, many years, and recently entered my collection. The loose Tommy was bought by me in the early 90s at an Ames store in Souderton, Pennsylvania. And then, of course, I've got the modern Tommy now, who displays beautifully, and I'm slightly conflicted. I would never get rid of that original Tommy. Like I said, he's my actual childhood toy. But boy, the new one displays so nice with no scuffs on him. I think that it's going to make people less interested in going back and hunting down the vintage ones. I think it is great for kids and collectors that want to be able to have a figure with nice tight joints and good paint and all the accessories and a dragon shield that stays on really well, so that way they can play with it or display it how they want. I think the easiest way to tell the difference between these figures once they're loose is that the modern release has a human head that can be turned. In Ranger form, the head is static, just like on the original releases. Thanks for watching this super exciting, outrageous toy review. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos.